What's going on, everyone? Very funny story. You won't believe this. Some of you may believe it, but many won't. It's a very... There we go. Very interesting story. Wait till you hear this. Let's get the... Let's wait for people to come in here. Man, I'm excited for the... I don't know how many days it takes, but come on, main account. Why does an account with a fraction of the size get way more viewers on in 2 seconds than the main account? I'll tell you. There's an algorithm, okay? It's an algorithm. We'll talk about that in a moment. But the other day I made that video talking about the spring that I went to, showing the spring, the beautiful water, ice cold water, super healthy, right? And then I got a message the next day. Hey man, I went to this spring outside of my city and I ran into 2 other people who are at the same spring because they saw your video and they saw the website findaspring.com, and then they went to this spring and then we were all talking. I was laughing. I'm like, dude, are you serious, man? So people are hanging out at this spring, and I'll tell you, this is what I thought of after that. I always thought back when I had plateaued in my awareness, that GMOs, fluoride, and chemtrails are the main things, right? But of course, there's so much more than that. But I always thought, if you can get one person to stop drinking fluoride, then you have effectively, that is, you will attract blessings, 100%. 100%, you'll be attracting blessings. And so imagine what happens. That's what I thought. And I still believe, if you get someone to go and completely raise their frequency because of information that you passed on to them, don't do it for this reason, but just know that you will gain very interesting quantum benefits, we'll put it that way. So let's see. I'm waiting to hear back from Facebook about shadow banning me. I don't know how long this stuff takes. It can take weeks. It can take a couple weeks. But as soon as you do something wrong and you get a little strike, it takes a while for your stuff to be turned back on, which is a little bit... It is what it is, but please, it's very strange that, even it's up to determination. Who is the one setting the precedent? Who is the one saying this goes against the guidelines? I'd like to say, is there any room for debate on that? But seemingly not. Now, the thing is, and S045, we have 4 different accounts that are backup accounts. We got the main account, Connecting Consciousness TV, Connecting .consciousness, and then we have another account, and so I mention all these comments. I mention all these accounts in all of my posts in the caption. So yes, very good question. And I just talked to a guy at Facebook, and he told me your account is not about to be deleted. He said you don't have, you have this little strike, but it's not a big deal, and you should be good to go. And I just shared 2 posts, by the way, into the private Telegram that everyone should see, man. I wish I could post it on Instagram. And as this pking_pt is delusionally saying many things, if he went on a limb and went and looked at the truth behind the situation that you can't talk about on social media because you will get deleted, maybe he'd be thinking twice before giving such peculiar and perhaps even just very, very strange advice for what other people should do with their bodies. Please. Yes, exactly, Austin. Good point. That is the Telegram channel. It's a free app. Everyone's on there. Pretty much almost 70,000 people are on there. And it's an amazing thing. It's in the link in my bio. The other thing I was talking about is, we talked the other day about the guy who came up to me and said, this son of a bitch isn't wearing a mask, and he's in this building, and he should have been wearing one because the sign on the door said. And I turned around and I said to him, dude, this is not mandatory. Otherwise, they would have kicked me out. I'm not breaking the law by not wearing the mask. Otherwise, they would have kicked me out. And he's like, no, it says right there. And I said, dude, and if your mask works and you have it on, then why do you care if I'm not wearing mine? And it's like, well, you're causing the pandemic. And I was just thinking, dude, are you serious? And then I got out of there, and you never know, it's because this is what it is. I already know what's going on in people's minds. They're scared. This is the first and foremost. This is the first ingredient that you require. You're scared, and you want things to go back to normal. And when you're scared, you will seek guidance. How do people seek this guidance? The media, the politicians, etc. Whether you think you're doing that or not, the majority of people are. The majority of people are gazing upon who's going to guide me, who's going to tell me, are we going to be okay, are we going to be safe, yada, 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 because we don't really have the strongest communities anymore like we should have, where we'd be talking to each other about it. Instead, not too many people are talking to each other, and they're instead just absorbing what the media is saying. So they sit there and think, how do we go back to normal? This is freaky, man. Like, I don't want to die from this thing. And, we don't have any freedoms. Like, we can't go out and we can't gather. And it sucks. And it's no fun. So how do we get back to normal? And the TV says, normalcy comes by doing these few things. And everyone just brainwashedly listens to it. And when the media says, hey, those folks who aren't wearing the you-know-what over their face, they are the reason that this lockdown continues. Never mind the fact that, of course, the main reason why that the lockdown is continuing is not because 1% of the population doesn't go along with it. It's because 99% of the population does go along with it. And Respect and Divinity said there ain't no going back to normal. That is an accurate statement. However, you will seem like a negative person by saying that. But I can tell you that Klaus Schwab, the chairman of the World Economic Forum, which is an unelected power structure which we didn't vote for, but yet it controls aspects of our lives, said, the way we go back to normal will never happen. He's on there. He's talking about it. You can watch him say this. He's one of the leading folks in an organization that controls our countries, governments, etc. From the unseen. From the behind the curtain, you could say. And so Klaus Schwab is saying we're not going back to normal. But some people think that we are. Of course, there's different realities. There's different timelines. We could create a reality where we don't have where we do go back to a normal, but is actually a better normal because people are actually aware. But they're not pushing to be able to. They don't expect after you do every single thing that the government is telling you to do. Don't expect to be able to go back and be able to do the things that you were doing before this whole thing happened. That's not the plan. It's not part of the plan. Because hold on a second. Part of the plan is to get a radically transformed global society. And that plan does not happen if we're living in the times of 2019 and, February of 2020. There's no way. They need to do many, many things, and it's a gradual takeover. We'll talk about this in a little bit. But yes, remember to ask the questions in the bottom right corner where you see the button that's a question mark. Please type questions in there. I can answer those better, and it also puts a different icon on front of the live feed, and it does actually, for some reason, get more people on the live. So make sure to ask questions in the bottom right corner button, please. And Respect and Divinity is clearly paying attention because the situation is that they are pushing for a different society. And it's not negative to discuss that. But many people who are completely more or less asleep think that, yes, you're negative and no, we're going to go back to normal, etc. Because they don't want people to be, they don't want to have their own reality shooken up. They don't want to, it's very scary. Like, think about it. If you were completely unaware and you think the world is just roses and pixies and I mean, whatever. And then someone says, dude, there's this evil system that wants to control you, and they want to control what you can do on your land. They want to control the food you eat. They want to control this, to control that, yada, 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 yada. You'd be like, dude, holy shit, this is kind of freaky, man. And you'd be freaked out. Well, fear is A, a vibration-lowering emotion. And B, it leads you to be acting emotionally instead of rationally. And rationale is not what they want. They want emotional reactions. They want an emotional reaction because emotional is not logical, and logical is smarter than just going based on the whim of the emotions and whatnot. So let me click this button How old do you think the planet is? Good question. Let's kick this glue bag out of here. Who just realized it's like the meme you saw. The adventures of the guy who just started paying attention. You join a live feed, someone's talking about some global economic and global, shifts by evil organizations. Dude, this guy, don't do drugs, kids. This guy's clearly on drugs. Meanwhile, you're drinking fluoride, literally on drugs. There's trace pharmaceuticals in your water. That's drugs. You're eating food that's sprayed with human waste, which they're legally allowed to do, which contains more pharmaceuticals in it. They're now legally allowed to decompose, or what are they doing with bodies? There's something that they're spraying human remains as fertilizers on different foods and things. So we're literally, cannibalism. It's crazy what's going on right now. And then you jump on here. This guy jumps on and talks smack. Please, dude. The adventures of the guy who just started paying attention. Great question. Mehrakv88 said, where are the chakras on Earth? Well, one of them is actually behind my head. If you see Sedona there in Arizona, that's a chakra. You have Hawaii, which is the heart chakra. You have Mount Kailash in India, which, by the way, did you know that Mount Kailash is about half of the height, or about 2/3 of the height of Mount Everest? But no one has ever been able to climb it, even though it's not even as tall as Mount Everest, which many people have climbed. They say it's because that, first thing, Mount Kailash, the difference between Mount Kailash and Mount Everest is that Kailash is on a chakra point, an energy node, you could say. And Mount Kailash is believed that no mortals are able to climb it. That the gods, this is the myth, or not myth, but the ancient story about it, is that you can't go to the top of Mount Kailash. It's reserved for gods only. And so people have been on an expedition, and it's a clear sunny day, and they're halfway up. And as soon as they cross a certain point of this mountain, becomes unpassable, becomes a crazy winter storm up there, and you cannot get past, and you cannot get to the top. There's been no documented cases of a human being, fully mortal, getting to the top of Mount Kailash. And apparently, it ages you prematurely as you climb it, and you start growing, your hair and your fingernails and everything will grow faster, like within what usually takes weeks, takes a few hours. It's otherworldly. And you have to ask yourself, is all this stuff just a myth? Is all this stuff really just a mythical fairy tale? And of course, if you just completely watch mainstream media and you are educated in school and you go to science classes and you have really good grades, of course, you'll believe that anything otherworldly is just fake news. It's non-scientific. It's pseudoscience. Woo! Hee! Please, man, the pseudoscience word really just brings my piss to a boil, because we have people who are literally scientists talking about things, and then they get called pseudoscientists because it doesn't corroborate with the mainstream narrative. So, one of the chakras, to answer this lady's question, is on Mount Kailash, which has a very interesting story to it. And very few people no one's been able to climb it. And apparently a godlike entity resides there. And he says, keep off my damn lawn. So let me see. Another question. Let's see. How do we avoid the digital ID that's coming? Please address this. Good question. Let me pin that comment, because that is a good comment that I will reply to. But the other thing this guy said, veganism is an agenda. Whoa, that is a triggering terminology. Many people believe that. Many people don't believe that. Many people believe Bill Gates wants you eating bugs and lab-grown meats. Other people believe this. Other people believe that. At the end of the day, there does seem to be a lot of mainstream gigantic corporations and evil people who are promoting only consuming plants. There is. That is true. You can't deny it. Like Jay-Z, even, who literally sold his soul and is a full-blown Satanist and has probably sacrificed children, says you should be vegan, which is very interesting. But I will say this, that at the end of the day, they also want control of plants too. It's not just that they want control of all animal agriculture. They will say that, they're saving. But here's the thing. with the government and these organizations saying they want to ban animal agriculture entirely, you have to understand that these organizations and people do not. Yes, Nancy, you will be able to rewatch this later. I will post it to my BitChute channel. BitChute is an alternative to YouTube. You can find that in the link in my bio. So the thing is that if you think the government and these corporations are trying to ban meat because they care about the environment, that's not accurate. That's not accurate. If these organizations cared about the environment, they would let grass-fed cows be chilling on a field and relax and have grass to eat. And then they would instead ban pesticides, ban glyphosate, ban atrazine, etc. And so that is what would happen essentially if they cared about the environment. So it's not about the animals. The government does not care about the animals. They're not trying to make you vegan because they care about animals or the environment. Of course. Okay, let's make that clear. The other thing that's very interesting, and Big Gas 451 said, why do you only post some of the lives on BitChute? I try to post the best lives on BitChute, so it's a concentration of, good live feeds versus some of them that aren't as good as others. So, and it's also, what I was doing is just uploading it straight to Instagram and then quickly throwing it up onto BitChute and then deleting it off Instagram, because sometimes I say stuff on here that can be fact checked, can be all kinds of stuff, but we're kind of safe because we're on a live feed. But anyways, now I've been uploading more of them. So just I'm going to upload one of them, this one today for sure. But so the other thing is that, just so you know, there's a lot of lies that the biggest vegan documentaries have fully lied about. I just want to say. And, let's just be realistic here. First thing, they say that animal agriculture, 1 pound of beef takes 2,500 gallons of water to produce, and animals use so much water, yada, yada, yada. But the vast majority, over 95% of over 95% of the water that is provided to livestock is rainwater. In other words, it's water that's going to be ending up, it's not like they're tapping, they're deleting, or they're, reducing the water table by watering these animals. That's not the case. It's not a strain on the water table to have a bunch of cows. Okay, that's the first thing, or any livestock. The second thing that these climate folks talk about is that the cows are causing the climate to change because of their farts. Okay, that's the whole thing, methane and everything, yada, yada. But grass-fed cows, do not produce methane. So in other words, when the cow is actually fed what it's designed to be eating, it does not produce methane. That's another thing we don't hear about. There's many other lies that is promoted in these mega documentaries, like what are some of those documentaries that are on Netflix? You got to understand too that Netflix is owned by literally satanically evil people who fully want to mind control you. So don't think they're going to put a beautiful documentary that's going to help you be healthy on Netflix. In fact, the best documentaries have been removed off of Netflix, like the GMO documentary they had there, the Root Cause documentary. Root Cause is the documentary about how root canals are like the biggest and most hidden weapon against humanity, that everyone is getting a root canal and it causes impacts in their health for their entire life. But this, it basically called out the dental, what's it called? Dentistry was called out on a whole for basically really quite harming a lot of people and not even telling people they're being harmed. So Netflix deleted it. My point is, I don't expect this Netflix here to have very, very good... Let's kick this dude out. What a stupid question. And I don't mean that in terms of... If it's a genuine question, it's not stupid, I'll tell you that. But if you're asking something very foolish, please. You asked what my social security number was. Please, man. But anyway, so the point is this. Very, you got to be careful what you're falling for, who's promoting what. If Billy G is promoting that you're healthier from plants, it makes me question both. And it's always good to keep an open mind regardless. It's always very, very good to keep an open mind about everything that's coming our way. Especially, you got to look at what's being promoted. Usually the opposite of that is true, I will say. The other thing is, how do we avoid the digital ID that's coming? Please address this. Well, the only way we can really avoid the digital ID is to not comply with it. That's pretty much the only way. I don't see any other way to be able to get around it other than people not complying with it. Because they already have this. I mean, people who aren't paying attention may be thinking, oh, only some countries are doing the digital ID, yada, yada. No, this is planned globally. And the interesting thing is that even with it being planned globally, it's not implemented all at the same time. We have to understand that it's not going to be incremental. It's not going to be, it's not going to be overnight. It's going to be little pieces here and there, little countries passing laws and getting closer and closer to a full-blown medical surveillance state. You already saw what the lineup looks like at the Vancouver airport where it's segregated, okay? There's one line for people who made this kind of choice, and there's another lineup for people who made a different choice when it's supposed to be your body, your choice, baby. So anyways, that is what's happening already in the world. And they're trying to kind of plan this for most people, for every country in the world. They want to connect to one efficient machine where you are turned into a damn number and they take away your damn name, the Johnny Cash song with the lyrics. You know what I'm talking about. But taking away your name and giving you a damn number. They want you to just be a digit. And they want to mechanize human society. Okay, that's what they're pushing for. Now, Watts Ember said alkaline food for all, which in essence, that is coming from a genuine place. He's trying to say, or he's basically saying healthy food for all. But I just have to say one thing, that first things first, the pH of the food is not important at all. Think about it for a second. A lemon is acidic. The pH of a lemon is acidic, but it's not acidifying to your body. The pH of Drano, that drain cleaner, the pH of that is alkaline. Is that alkalizing to your body? No, not at all. There's many foods that are on the alkaline food list that are not at an alkaline pH. So it's not about the pH of the food, it's the effect that it has on the body. One of the scams with alkaline is alkaline water, which is a literal, completely gigantic, huge scam marketing ploy, completely BS. That is not good for you. Alkaline water dilutes your stomach acid, which is supposed to be what helps you digest foods. So if you're drinking alkaline water, you're diluting your stomach acid, which is making your body work harder to produce stomach acid to be able to digest food. So alkaline water is a complete scam. Alkaline food is kind of, there's no real definition for what an alkaline food is. Other than the Dr. Sebi foods, which he claims are approved by him in that they are good for the body. And I will say, all of the foods that are on the food list are good for the body, for sure. But please don't think that if something's not on the list, then it's not good for the body. Because something like turmeric, ancient superfood, literally healing, literally has anti-cancer effects on the human body. That's turmeric. That food is considered not good in Dr. Sebi's world, but yet has healed many millions of people in India and all around the world. So you got to be kind of take everything with a grain of salt, not sea salt, because there's microplastics in that. But I'm just kidding. I mean, that is true, but I'm just making a joke. So yes, just something to be clear of. And just keep in mind that there's many, many heirloom foods and ancient superfoods that are not on the list of alkaline foods that are still very, very good for you. So that's why, that's why I would definitely be keeping an open mind. Watts Ember asked about a water ionizer that I'm not going to say the name of. All I can say is that the vast majority, like water ionizers are also, in my opinion, from my research, okay? And again, take this with a grain of salt. Water ionizers are a complete and utter 99% scam. The only thing they are good for is sterilizing things. And when the company that promotes these water ionizers, one of their talking points, their selling points is that, hey, they use these machines in Japan. And they do use these machines in hospitals in Japan. They use it to sterilize lab equipment and floors and countertops, etc. So they don't use them to drink. So I don't recommend drinking water that goes through a water ionizer, which is electrocuted, which gives it a synthetic fake electrical charge, and it has no minerals and it has no natural magnetic charge. I don't recommend water ionizers whatsoever. So very good question. Yes, exactly. Dr. Sabi's list is based off the food where he lived at. That's why the list is not very large. That's likely accurate. That is likely accurate, although a lot of foods that are on there aren't where he's at. But I see, that's why you can see too, this isn't a one size fits all. The other thing that's not on Dr. Sabi's list, but he did admit to eating and was seen eating many times, and it's not really a secret, is that he ate fish. He ate wild caught fish, line caught fish. He did not eat fish that were caught in a gigantic net. He got line caught fish rather. So that's, obviously you can imagine what his beliefs are on certain animal products. Maybe he believed that they are, let's kick this glue bag out of here. Maybe he believed that these, some animal foods had denser nutrients than just a plant. For example, if you consider how much plants it took to grow a fish, like the little wild fish the little, microbes and different, sea vegetation that a fish consumes to eventually become a fish that you eat. So that's probably his thoughts on it. He must thought they were good. Thank you, Robert. Exactly, dude. I don't know why I said thank you. You didn't say something that's worthy of thanking, but it was funny what you said. So that's my point, is that there's many varying degrees. In fact, the most important thing is not the pH of the food you eat. Because if your body, this is what I was getting at, if your body was alkaline, you would be dead. You would not exist right now if your body was alkaline. Your skin has to be acidic to work properly. Your blood has to be a certain pH. Your digestive tract has different pHs. Your, every single different organ in your body has a different pH, a different alkalinity and acidity. What regulates the pH of those organs is not food that's at a certain pH. A lemon will make you acidic. Someone's talking about putting baking soda in a coffee to take away the acidity. That doesn't do anything. That doesn't virtually do anything. You're changing the pH artificially with some baking soda. That's not going to change the effect it has on your body in a way that's noteworthy or important. What changes the pH of all of your organs, okay, is minerals. Exactly. Divine Health. What a great name. Divine Health said it as I said it the moment I said it. Minerals. Minerals are what calibrate and optimize the pH of every single one of your organs, not the food you eat. So when you hear people talking about alkaline this, acidic that, you can eat food that's, for example, potentially acidifying, or you can eat food that's alkalizing. And the important thing is that you're getting the minerals so that all of the organs in your body have an optimal pH. However, you cannot optimize the pH of your body if you have less than 10% of the minerals that you are supposed to get, which is even if you're eating a fully organic diet, you're only getting 10% of the minerals. So you can imagine how most people on earth today if they're not eating, like most people on earth do not eat fully organic. Simple, boom, like 100% fact. But then secondly, most people on earth even the people who do eat fully organic are still only getting 10% of the minerals. That's why we talk about the Irish moss. We were talking about it yesterday. The organic Irish moss from chalk, the high purity Irish moss, full matrix of minerals in this to optimize every single different biological function and pH in your body. There's not really a benefit you can think of that Irish moss doesn't help you obtain. This is a true superfood, been used for thousands of years. I definitely recommend anyone try out the Irish moss and see how you feel getting the full matrix of minerals. The other thing we are talking about in terms of minerals are the trace minerals that is in the purified shilajit and the chalk daily, which contains the purified shilajit. Now, if you're getting the full matrix of minerals plus the trace minerals, I watched a video the other day that talked about anyone with depression, anyone with anxiety, typically, okay, you're never going to find someone with those two brain dysfunctions who has trace minerals in their body, who has the full matrix of minerals in their body. Why is that? Because people who have the full matrix of minerals in their body, produce the optimal amount of hormones, okay? And B, with the trace minerals, the trace minerals in your body are what distribute hormones into every cell, into every vein, and every artery in your body. If you are getting the full matrix of minerals from Irish moss and shilajit, you're helping produce. So the shilajit in the daily helps optimize hormone production, and the minerals in the Irish moss help distribute those hormones. So this is a synergistic, holistic approach, per se, you could say, that increase your hormone metabolism, production of hormones, melatonin, serotonin, dopamine, happiness hormone, sleep hormone, DNA repair hormone, that's melatonin, and the distribution of those hormones throughout your body. Extremely important. And as No Limits Logan, that's a great account name, he said, retain your life essence, Major. I think I know what he's talking about, but what I will say on top of that, or on a side note, is that by producing the full matrix of your hormones, the full spectrum of hormones in your body, the testosterone, the melatonin, the dopamine, the estrogen, all of these hormones are extremely important to be not only balanced, but optimized, fully optimized based on your genetic blueprint. You know, when, for example, a baby's born and it has, 10 fingers, 10 toes, healthy face, brain's growing, you got 2 ears. That is based on your genetic blueprint. There's parts of your body that you can't see that have a genetic blueprint that are supposed to be, that have a genetic blueprint. And that includes the production for men to produce testosterone, for women to produce estrogen, for you to produce melatonin. These are requirements or things that your body does based on your genetic requirements. But guess what? Your genetics, your DNA, do not function if they do not get minerals. So another importance of getting the minerals is that it optimizes your genetic function, your genetic blueprint, and based on what you are meant to, achieve biologically with your DNA. And that's why you need the minerals. That's why 100% everyone on Earth today, if they were getting the full matrix of minerals, we would see a different world. There wouldn't be any new digital ID because people's brains would be working properly, and they knew that that's not about your safety. If people had minerals, if everyone had the full matrix of minerals in the world, they would not be able to pull the wool over your eyes and completely blind you from the fact that they are trying to create a global surveillance state to restrict your rights and freedoms, just as was forecasted in George Orwell 1984 and Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. 100%. You have to understand, in order for them to physically take away our freedoms and our rights and put us into a 5G smart city, they have to spiritually erode our intuition and our innate abilities of seeing things before they happen, which is by way of food. That's why they want to control the food supply. That's why they want to add very strange things into the water supply as well. And that's why it's so important. If you're getting the shilajit that's in the chalk daily, or the straight up shilajit by itself, you're getting an ingredient that has been clinically studied to support brain function, to increase memory, to increase concentration, your ability to focus, removes brain fog, removes amyloid plaque from your brain, which is the compound that accumulates from toxins, which reduces your ability to concentrate and to cognitively function. That's the shilajit. It is a true superfood. Like I said, it comes from the Himalayan mountains. Chalk has the only purified shilajit in the world that has clinical studies, and it is a concentrated superfood, unlike any other on the market. You can get all kinds of shilajit on Amazon extremely cheaply, but I just want you to know, you will not get a clinically studied hot water purified concentrate of shilajit on Amazon. You will not get it. And also then you'd be supporting this AI company that is very strange that you may not want. Austin said he's been double dosing this shilajit recently, and I definitely recommend. A lot of people like doing a double dose. A lot of people like doing the double dose of even the Irish moss. You're remineralizing your body after potentially decades, depending on how old you are, of not having the full matrix of minerals. That's the situation that most people have a hard time wrapping their head around, is that you may have been born minerally deficient and been minerally deficient up until this point. Marissa, you can leave if you want. So that's why a lot of people are realizing the importance, all of a sudden, getting the full matrix of minerals and the difference that they might make in your life. Remember that chalk has temporarily, they basically called the last call to be able to get the 44% off lifetime discount on any chalk subscription or bundle for the superfoods that's in the daily, or the Tongkat, which is a wild crafted adaptogen from Malaysia, which we'll talk about in a minute. But remember this, that this is a temporary, basically last call to be able to get 44% off lifetime discount. The link in my bio is chalk.com. Use the code 44life or use the code 50OFF, 50OFF, to get 50% off all orders store-wide. Like I said, the best deal for people who are overseas. Remember that the clinically studied benefits of these literal superfoods, we're going to talk about Action 2.0 in a minute, are based on 90 days of consistent consumption. So if you're overseas, you don't want to pay shipping every month. You'd rather get a multi-month supply half off using the code 50OFF. Thank you, Mary C74. The code is 50OFF for 50% off all orders store-wide. But like I said, the most popular combination, or the most, if you're in the United States, the best thing to do would be subscribe with the code 44LIFE, which is a 44% off lifetime discount. The link is in my bio to the website. It's called chalk.com. You will see it. Make sure you go to the link in my bio, click it, and then you'll see chalk.com. Make sure, by the way, don't let me dissuade you. Yes, the shilajit is an incredibly beneficial substance. Yes, the Irish moss has the full matrix of minerals, etc. The very good question is, let your intuition guide you to what you think you are most drawn to on the website. You may be wanting to get the 7 wonders with the lion's mane and the chaga extract in here for super boosting brain function and for increasing concentration and focus. That you may want the 7 wonders. See what you're most drawn to. What about Canada? Is 50% off better? Yes, I would say, because Canada, you still have to pay international shipping. The best thing you could do would be get a multi-month supply, so 3 shilajit and 3 daily, or 3 action and 3 Irish moss, and then use the code 50OFF and get 50% off using the code 50OFF. Thank you, Mary, for commenting that. I'm going to pin that. Thank you guys for commenting the codes for those who are wondering. Aubrey, good question. Yes, it does. It's recyclable. And yes, exactly. That's a very good question. And by the way, most people have a hard time thinking about this for a moment. And they wonder, what is the situation with the fact that there's so much, what do you do when it comes to microplastics that are in the ocean and that are in our food supply? The thing with microplastics is that your body detects them as xenoestrogens, and xenoestrogens, I should say, cause men to reduce testosterone levels and cause women to alter their estrogen levels. So unfortunately, 1995, Kyla, unfortunately, most people walking today, and I've said this before, are walking around in a chemically altered state, and it could be intentional. It could very well be that there is an intentional plot to disrupt the function of your body. I'm not 28, 26. Intentional plan to disrupt your body function using chemicals and strange contaminants that are in the food and water supply. That's why I like taking superfoods, because you can optimize the timeline reality of Earth, which is very spiritual and very far out and very woo-woo. But I will say, if you're getting something like the Action 2.0 for all day natural energy levels, and you're taking that in conjunction with the Chalk Daily, you don't know how you're about to feel until you start getting the full matrix of minerals. And these rare plant compounds, this rare plant intelligence to calibrate your DNA, calibrate your physical body that you're inhabiting as we speak. Can someone write the code down? My internet is bugging. So the first code is the best deal for anyone in the United States. It's 44LIFE, 44LIFE, 44LIFE on any Chalk subscription to get a lifetime 44% off discount. And you can cancel at any time. But remember that the benefits are based on 90 days. Some people feel the benefits right away. Some people, it takes them a little bit longer. Some people take it, like I said, they start feeling it right away. But it definitely varies. But you got to understand, if you are taking any Chalk supplement, because they are clinically studied, you have to know that you are receiving the benefits. Regardless of if you feel them right away or not, you are receiving rare plant compounds, rare ingredients, and very beneficial plant compounds. So sometimes people say, dude, I don't feel it. It's been 4 days and I'm wondering what the hell is going on. Am I being scammed? Dude, the ingredients are clinically studied. Enjoy the benefits. Be patient with it. Your body has probably consumed pesticides and fluoride for decades. Allow it to recalibrate with these superfoods. Chalk ships worldwide, and anyone overseas, the best code you can use, I'll tell you right now, if you get 3 actions and you get 3 shilajit, okay, and use the code 50OFF, you get a 3-month supply, a 90-day supply. Each bottle is a 1-month supply. And then you start feeling the powerful effects, and the benefits, like I said, are based on 90 days. But again, you will feel it likely much sooner than that. And for most people, it's the first time ever getting fulvic acid, which is the main bioactive compound in the shilajit. Very, very beneficial compounds that you will enjoy the benefits of. But remember that this is the last call for the 44 Life or the 50 off. Chalk is going to be capping these deals within 6 to 12 hours, 6 to 8 hours, they believe. They told me. So 6 to 8 hours. Do not sleep on this deal. In other words, wake up on this deal. Get the full matrix of minerals, get these rare plant compounds, and experience the benefits of these powerful ingredients and adaptogens from all over the world. If you're going to take these, don't be going eating and drinking crap. Drink spring water, eat healthy, get sleep, and exercise. Good point, but I will say, please don't think that you have to be on a fully organic diet in order to receive the benefits of these compounds. That's not the case. Remember that you receive the benefits regardless. And the situation is this. Would you rather be eating GMOs? Okay. Would you rather be eating GMOs and have no superfoods? Or would you rather get superfoods along with the potentially not 100% clean diet? Of course, you want to get superfoods no matter what. Any questions, do not hesitate to DM me, or should I say, feel free to DM me any questions you have. Make sure you join my private uncensored Telegram channel. We will talk extremely soon. Everyone, keep posted in my stories today, by the way, and I'll keep you posted on this property I'm looking at. And could be this crazy. It's going to be amazing. Wait till you see this. But much love, everyone. DM me with any questions. Make sure you join my Telegram. Go to the link in my bio to get your chalk supplements. And remember, this is, someone said it right here. Health is an investment. It's not an expense. Boom, bang, bing. Much love, everyone. Link in my bio. DM me with any questions, all right?